If it hurts, you ain't breaks, no hits, you know it up, put on more steam. Protect our kickers, our quarterback, our lead, our ball game. All obstacles, block, cut, sides, through the game, tap, this is when it ends. Press you again, we're here for the first minute. Can everybody keep it there for 6 minutes?
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
99% of the people in this world want to be great. Would you agree with that? Yeah, they're called wannabes. 1% work to be great. Drop the mic on that.
I've said it from when I got here. The expectation, the standard is to play elite defense here, not just good defense. This is the home of Eric Berry, Al Wilson, Reggie White. The standard is to be elite.
We have some examples in our room what the gold standard of linebacker play is. And when you think about that, just with the history and tradition of this place, you think about Al Wilson. Well, to have Al Wilson in practice today, I think that really brought some elements to the guys in the room, and Edwin was one of them, because he is walking in the footsteps of someone like that for sure.
Yeah, again, I think we should really have the best defensive line in the country. I feel really good about our depth that we're building. I feel really strongly about, their attitude and the determination that those guys have played with. And again, I'm not even talking as much about football, just great guys. They're great human beings, and, they've really worked hard. And, as coaches, we want to see guys develop and reach their full potential.
Yeah, they're scared. You get me? Like, you can't double him or chip him, or you feel me? Because you got me on the other side, and if you want to put a guard on me, you got Omar or Don Bailey on the 3 takes. Like, you can't do nothing with that. You feel me? So offense they see us all out there. They're scared. Everybody's worried. Like, so it feels good when we're all out there.
But you know what? Let's talk a little Vols. That is not me trying to take any shine away from the phenomenal channel Talkin VAWLS, and my guy Boogie Bentley runs. So shout out to them. But let's talk a little Vols here.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Hope you guys are having a great Monday morning. Man, it's a Monday morning. We've traded out the bourbon for coffee. We had to set an alarm clock, boys. We had to act like an adult this morning. We had to wake up and go to work. And we're here. We are here. It is game week. We're 5 days away from kicking this thing off. You guys, your productivity at work is going to go down. It's that time of year. I appreciate you guys tuning in for this morning show. The crossover is back. Boogie and Cainer ride again. I want to see those Cainer emojis in the chat. But let's see who's in the chat right now. Ron the Dawn is here, says, let's go. What's up, Ron the Don? I feel like you never sleep. Tim Rice is in the chat. What's up, brother? Big Trey is here. Jeff Olson's in the house. Who else we got? Bad Quality says, morning, boys and girls. What is up? Logan Martin's in the house. Teddy Sutherland is here. Trucker Dougie, what is up, man? The fan call-in shows are back. We got to get Trucker Dougie back in here on Sunday night. Speaking of Sunday nights, man, y'all missed a banger last night. David Sanders, what a kid, man. What a person. What a human being. Just so much energy. So much, just a good kid, man. A guy that you want to be around, a guy you want to hang out with, a guy you want to talk with. You missed that live stream, go back and give it a watch. You guys being very generous already. Scott Bennett drops a 5 spot. He says, cover. Got a tag up meeting at 9, so I wanted to get it in now. Working sucks. Go Vols. Appreciate you, Scott. Thank you for the super chat. Tony Canada drops 2, says GBO. We appreciate you, brother. Dylan Elam drops a $5 super chat, says, good morning, Ball Nation. Y'all smell that? It smells like game week. Papa J is in the house. What's up, brother? $5 super chat. Game week, baby. Go Big Orange. Sean Cross is here. I'm glad Sean still likes me. I was rude to him. I was rude to him on Saturday night. I was angry, and I took it out on Sean. Drops a $2 super chat and says, good morning. Good morning. It is good to see you guys in the chat. Smash the thumbs up. Share out the link. Let people know that the morning show is back. And let's get into it.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up? Tim Ross in the chat says, great show last night. Great opener for Cainer. I told David what you said. I told him that he was the warm-up for the morning show.
He was the warm-up for the Monday morning show. Can kick back off. I'm sure that he knew that was a joke, considering who he is and who I am. But yeah, how'd it go? Obviously, we were doing the Rocky Top Rewind, so I didn't get to watch much. But I assume he was great, right?
Just such a good kid, man. Good family, obviously. Seeing the commitment and just. Man, I think he had fun because talking to his dad going into it, he's like, I know you guys like to have fun, and I'm excited for people to see who David is away from football. And it's like, when you're the number 1 offensive tackle in the country, that's all everybody wants to talk about is ball and your recruitment. Everybody's coming after you. That's all. And it's like, man, for him to get to sit down and talk about life and video games and what he does for fun, and it was a fun show, man. And just confirmation of the kids that Heupel's recruiting, right? Like, it's like every time we're around one of these kids, it's like, man, they all have that personality, that just good kids. Well, I don't know what else to say. They're good kids. We throw culture around a lot in this business, and Josh Heupel's created a true legitimate culture at Tennessee.
Yeah, again, I feel like so many times, we as media personalities or fans especially, these guys are 4 stars and 5 stars and, number 3 offensive tackle in the country and 6'5" and 330. And they're just kids, right? And they're just good kids, and they're growing up and they're learning, and they're goofy, and they're they're immature at times. And they're just kids. And so I love whenever you get some guys on your show just to kind of peel the curtain back a little bit and hang out. I know that Braylon Staley came on, and his dad came on the show a couple of times during the recruiting process. So good job for you guys. David Sanders obviously a big fish too, so that was awesome work.
Yeah, it's funny. We like you said, they're kids. They're kids. Like for us, it's George is recruiting.
Yeah.
George is recruiting. And for David, he's like, yeah, me and George, we get on. We play college football together. We play Madden. It's like they're buddies. It's not always business. And you got to come to Tennessee. You got to. It's just funny to see that. But let me catch up with you guys in the chat. Isaac Owens been a member for 13 months. We appreciate you, brother. Ron the Don dropped a $2 super chat. Welcome back, Big Daddy Cainer, to Talkin VAWLS. Drop those Cainer emojis in the chat. Bad Quality for 10. I can feel it's game week in my loins. Marcus Rush for 10 says Monday morning show is back, which means it's game week GBO. Isaac Owens dropped a 5 spot. Game week GBO. Billy Todd for 2. Dorothy, welcome to game week. It feels different this morning, doesn't it, Cainer? Feels like we turned the corner. We have made it. We have arrived. It's game week. Like how much more energy do you have? How much more fun is it to wake up and do what you do for a living, knowing we got a game to look forward to?
Yeah, I've been talking to a couple of different people like the last couple of weeks. My favorite time of the year is obviously football season, but like my favorite work schedule is football game weeks, because like every single day you know exactly what you're doing. It's all mapped out, and you're doing the same things over and over again, and it's just such a great rhythm, and it's an awesome rhythm because you're talking football and you're making football videos, you're doing all this type of stuff. So it's awesome, man. I'm pumped up, and It's a long off season. It always is. And my advice at this time of year, every year, is just, man, enjoy these next 12 weeks, 13 weeks, because it's going to go by like that. It's going to go by like the snap of your finger. So enjoy these weeks. Even the week, I mean, this week's different because it's a season opener, but even in 2 weeks when they're playing Kent State, enjoy it, right? Because in April, you're going to be like, man, I wish there was some football happening right now. But it is great to be back. I am so pumped up and ready to roll. It's extra little pep in the step this morning, no doubt.
We're 5 days away. And the game everybody likes to play, we're Eric Ainge days away. We're Heath Schuler days away. We're Andy Kelly days away. We're 5 days away. Who's your favorite Vol to wear number 5, and why is it Hendon Hooker?
I mean, how in the world can you say anybody else, right? Like, I mean, especially, it's recent memory, right? But what he's done for the program and I mean, where he stands in Tennessee lore and Tennessee record books, and you see what he's doing with the Detroit Lions here in the preseason, man. He's tearing it up right now. So I know it's recency bias, but I mean, why not? He's one of the greats here at Tennessee. He led Tennessee one of the best seasons in program history. So it's absolutely Hendon Hooker.
You guys were talking. I had the Rocky Top Rewind on this morning while I was getting ready, and you guys were kind of talking about Nico, what he's going to look like. And somebody made the comment, I don't remember who it was, that Nico's going to be closer to Hendon than what Joe was to Hendon.
Yeah, Andy Staples said that.
I think Nico can be better than Hendon. I truly think he can. Now, Willie, Coach Jay obviously loves him some Nico, and he says it all the time. You got to go prove it. You got to go out and prove it on the field. But you said, drink it in, soak it in, enjoy the ride this year. And that's something that I preached all 2022 because it was a special year. I think 2024 can be that special year. How much closer is this offense to what we saw in 2022 because of Nico?
Well, as far as the comparison to Joe, the Nico and all that, or Hendon and all that, I think what Andy said is absolutely right. I think Nico will be closer to Hendon than Joe was to Hendon. But I do think that ceiling is, I don't want to say significantly higher because we've seen Hooker at his best, but that ceiling's higher for Nico. I mean, the intangibles, the height, the stature, the arm strength, the between the ears stuff. I mean, the mental part of the game, all that type of stuff. Hendon was great. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, Nico's got such a higher ceiling, but we've seen Hendon out there playing at his best, and that is pretty daggum good. And even if, when it's all said and done, Nico does not surpass Hendon, he's just approaching the play that Hendon was. I mean, that means Tennessee's pretty good. Not just pretty good, really good. So, I mean, that's a really, really good comparison there because Hendon Hooker obviously is one of the greats, so here in Tennessee. But yeah, I mean, I'm super pumped to see what Nico is. You got to go out and do it. I mean, it's been years and years and years of anticipation, dating back to November of 2021 when he took his first unofficial visit here, and then recruiting him and courting him, and then he committed, and then he signed, and then he enrolled, and then he was the backup, and then he got that spot start against Iowa, and now he spent the whole offseason as the guy. I mean, there's been steps and steps, and we're checking. Now we're here. What's he look like from this Saturday to the next Saturday? I'm super intrigued. I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun to watch. But I do think his ceiling is higher, and I think because of that, the offense is going to look more like 2022 than last year's. I mean, I'm not going to say the offense is going to be 2022's because that's a lot of pressure. I mean, Tennessee scored, 46 points a game, led the nation in total offense. I mean, that is a lot of pressure to put on this offense. But I do think it's going to be back in the top 10 nationally. It's going to be so much closer to that than what we saw a season ago where Tennessee struggled in the red zone and, et cetera.
You look back to the difference between 2022 and 2023, and people can point fingers and blame. That's what makes it intriguing to see what does this offense truly look like in 2024, because I think the offense was dumbed down last year. I do. I think it was dumbed down. I think we could all agree on that for the most part. But was it dumbed down by design? Was it a lack of trust in Joe? Was it what Joe was capable of handling with running the offense? Or, people can say, hey, it's because Golish is gone. We need Alex Golish. He was the reason, right? This is Josh Heupel's offense. And everybody knows it's Josh Heupel's offense. Was Alex Golish a great offensive coordinator? Was he great in the booth with what he did and the way he communicated? Sure. But this is still Josh Heupel's offense. But people can still point and say Golish is gone. You can point and say, well, Joe Milton's not Hendon Hooker. You can blame quarterback play. People blame the wide receivers. There were so many things that people could point to in that 2023 offense. And I think you talk about Nico, and it's finally his time, right? All last year, it's like, man, we're in cruise control. We're just trying to get to Nico. And we're talking about a kid that's a redshirt freshman But man, when you look at the way college football works now, right, and the fact that he was an early enrollee, and then Tennessee also was in the bowl game, so he was on campus in December, right? It's going to be close to 2 years that he's been practicing and working with his team and in the playbook. 2 years to sit under Josh Heupel, man. It seems like we have been waiting an eternity, and he's going to get his opportunity. Of course, we got that teaser in the bowl game, and what I like, and you guys touched on this too in the Rocky Top Rewind, is what Nico gives you in the red zone. Not only does he open up the entire field, but what he gives you in the red zone with his legs. And I think Hub said, you obviously don't want to overuse it, or you may have said it. You don't want to overrun him in the red zone. All it takes is one to know that you have got to account for Nico in the red zone. He will absolutely beat you with his legs. Tennessee, 100% in the red zone against Iowa in that bowl game. So I'm excited.
Man, I kept preaching last year, especially at the beginning of the year. I'm like, Joe's got to show the ability to run. He's got to show the ability to run. I mean, we talk about this on the high school football broadcast on Rivalry Thursday. We had 2 games this week. It's like, if you just shows you can pop one, the linebacker, the ends have got to respect that. They've got to stay home. They can't just crash to the dive. They got to stay home for quarterback play. The linebackers can't just assume you're going to crash dive. I mean, you got to respect it, and he never did. And then he popped that one against, I believe it was Akron, or am I getting my years mixed up? UTSA, whatever game that was, and he popped it for like 80 yards or whatever. But I mean, that was kind of it, right? I mean, that was it. That's all he did. I think Nico's ability to use his legs, I don't think he's going to be Michael Vick out there, but I do think he's going to be able to extend plays when the pocket breaks down, getting out of the pocket, running horizontally, eyes downfield. I mean, remember that throw to Ethan Davis in the spring game a couple years ago? Just a beautiful throw. Even the throw to McAllen Castles, I believe that was a touchdown pass, his first, if I'm not mistaken. That was when he stepped up in the pocket and threw.
Yep.
That type of stuff. And then when you are in third down or inside the 10-yard line or whatever, design quarterback runs. You saw those 2 design quarterback runs against Iowa work to perfection. You had a running back as an extra blocker. That third quarterback run that he scored a touchdown on, that was just not a busted play, but pocket broke down. He was improvising and made something happen. I think in big situations like with Hendon against Florida, Hendon against Florida game is one that jumps out at me. I know there's other situations as well. Big time gains, big time situations, you can call those. But yeah, you don't want to overdo it because, man, Hendon had Joe had Nico. Nico doesn't have that security blanket really right now, so you got to be smart with it, of course. But you can't play scared. You got to go out there and win games, and I think this coaching staff's going to do everything they can to go out there and win some games and utilize his abilities to the max. And I'm intrigued to see what that looks like.
I like the way he improvs, like you said. And you said something else that I've beaten everybody's head is he keeps his eyes downfield. When he's running around and he's playing backyard football, he's always looking for the big play downfield. And just, man, he looks like Hendon, the way his elusiveness, right? The way he just gets away and escapes. And like you said, the throw to Ethan Davis was so good. The throw to Callie where he did the little, stutter step. I think that was improv. I don't think that was by design. I think he said, I can freeze the backer if I take this step. And he did. And Callie's open. He throws that touchdown. We got almost 300 people watching live on this Monday morning. Do us a favor, smash that thumbs up. We would appreciate it. Hit that share button. Blast this thing out on Twitter and Facebook. Let everybody know the morning show is back. Like Kaner said, man, it's game week. Football season is here. So now we know what we're doing. Every Monday morning, 9 a.m., we'll be right here breaking down the previous game. Tuesday nights, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, we play EA Sports College Football. Wednesday nights at 7, Talkin VAWLS live. Friday mornings, 10 a.m., me and Coach Jay get you ready for game day the following day. Tailgate show on Saturday, post-game show on Saturday as well. So get in where you fit in. Let people know that we are back. Douglas Graham drops the 5 spot. Love the Monday morning show. Big fan of Eric. I am one of the everydayers. GBO.
Yeah. Hey, Douglas, can't thank you enough, buddy. Put up Donovan's comment right there. He says, big key this year is we will be able to use the middle of the field again, which is huge. I meant to say that earlier when I was going on in my monologue. Talking about what was different about 2023's offense, I think you laid it out perfectly. I think it's fair or not fair. You want to go, you want blood, right? You want to say it's Joe or it's the receivers or mainly it's Joe. I think it's a little bit of Joe. I think it's the injuries to receivers and lack of development of the receivers. I think that it's the loss of Alex Golesh. I think that it's not having a hidden hooker. I truly think it's a combination of several different things. It's not just Joe. I mean, he was not great. I'm not saying he was, but it wasn't just him. It wasn't just the receivers, so on and so forth. Tennessee did not use the middle of the field at all. all. And I do think, as Donovan pointed out, Tennessee's going to start throwing over the middle again, which is going to be exciting. And I think Ethan Davis is going to be part of that mix as well. So I'm really excited to see him play.
Yeah, I like seeing, the tight ends get involved. And I know it's clips, the ball Twitter account or whatever is putting out from scrimmages and stuff, but just seeing them use the tight ends more. I think they can be serious weapons, and then it just opens up everything, man. Opens up everything. So, yeah, I'm with Donovan. I agree with what both of you guys said. They're bad quality for 5. Cainer, when will we get what everyone else wants on Ball Club Confidential? More than Heupel or Tony V, we need the Matt Ray interview.
30 minutes of Matt Ray and that accent, sign me up for that.
I would tune in.
Down.
I would be dialed in for that. Right top time for 5. Locked On Talking Vols. Got to get that TECQ for tomorrow's show. As Coach Do, you give both Sampson and Selden 15 to 18 touches per game. That's a lot of touches. No, there's no way they're both getting that.
Both getting 15 to 18? No.
I don't know that one of them.
I was going to say, in fact, I don't know. I'm intrigued when both are healthy, and it sounds like Selden's going to be full go for UTC. I'm still intrigued, though. Yeah, it's great to say, hey, he's full go, no restrictions, but, I mean, is he going to carry the ball 10 times against UTC, or are they going to ease him back into things? I don't know. We'll see. But when both are like 100% healthy, full go, I'm still intrigued to see what that share is, because we saw with Jerry Mack, I mean, he split it 3-way or 2.5. He had 3 guys that ran the football. What's Darrell Sims going to do? I don't know. Is it going to be straight 50-50? Is it going to be 60-40? Is it going to be, 60-20-10? I don't know what it is. But yeah, I could see neither one of those guys getting 15 to 18 and both getting, 10 to 13 or so.
Yeah, I agree. I think I just want to see Selden get hit. I just want to see him get hit, keep him clean, but get hit, get back in the speed of things. And who knows how much contact he's been taking in practice.
I'll say this too, and I understand big picture stuff, just want to get on with it, and big picture stuff. Who cares, right? I know that might be mean to say, but I want to see Deshaun Bishop ball out against UTC. He's earned it, man. He's carried the torch, if you will, no pun intended. The last couple of camps, and he's played in every practice and every scrimmage, and he's had a really, really good camp. I'm excited to see Deshaun Bishop play against UTC.
Yeah, when it counts, right? It's because he's the scrimmage guy. He's always the first name out of Coach Heupel's mouth after every scrimmage, and it's to see him go. Plus, what a great story, man! Right? I mean, it would be a great story. A guy that I question. I said, when you're coming up to commit, and you got a Tennessee hat, an App State hat, and a Coastal Carolina hat. One of those 3 teams is built different than the other 2. App State is a legendary program. Shout out to all you App State haters in the chat. Oh man, I had an epic troll job during the Onus Conan Banny commitment because he had a picture on his Instagram stories wearing an App State shirt, and one of the other hosts was like, "Man, Onus Conan Banny's become one of my favorite guys, and this is why," and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, "Mine too." And I just put that picture on the screen, and everybody was pissed at me. Let's see here. Vol Daddy Dave becomes a member of the channel. We appreciate you, Vol Daddy Dave. Also, Bull becomes a member of the channel. Guys, think about hitting that join button. You can do it for just $1. You keep the lights on around here and support what we are trying to build. So we appreciate you guys joining the channel. Spectrus for 2 says, what are your top 5 running backs since 2010? Man, these questions always put me on the spot because I'm like, okay.
Let's do it together, okay? Now, number 1. The 2 that jump out, obviously, Jalen Hurd, Alvin Kamara. I mean, Jalen Hurd, if he would have stayed, he'd been the best running back statistically in Tennessee history. Those are the 2 right there. You've got to put in Jalen Wright.
Yep.
But in the same sense, don't you have to put in Jabari Small, too?
Dude, I wish Jabari Small would have come back for another year. But clearly what he's doing, he's going to end up on an NFL roster. And it's best of luck to him. But I think he could have come back. And I think he could have been really good in this offense in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. But stats-wise, he ran for over 2,000 yards. Yeah. He had a really good college career. So
he could have been the all-time leading rusher at Tennessee if he came back.
So again, it's how do you define your top 5 or whatever? Jabari Small deserves some praise there. Who else since 2010? I mean, John Kelly's a fan favorite.
I like John Kelly. Man, it's hard to like you said. Kamara is the first one that comes out. I mean, that's got to be at the top. I love me some Jalen Hurd too. I mean, you took them all, Jalen Wright, and then you sit here and you try to think, okay, who has played running back at Tennessee since 2010?
These might be going pre-2010, but I think they're right around those those Dooley teams. Rajon Neal, Marlon Lane.
When was Hardesty? What year was Hardesty?
Oh, Hardesty was before 2010, I believe. Well, no. Hardesty I believe, I mean, he was here before, but didn't he break out that year that Kiffin was here? Or am I mistaken?
Yeah, so that would have been what, 2009. So
Yeah.
see, it's hard to figure out who was where. I love me some Montario Hardesty though.
Yeah, me too.
He was a stud. He was a stud.
Good.
Let's see here. Vols girl for 10. Good to see you in the chat. Good morning, Vol family. It's been a while. Welcome back to the Talkin Vols morning show. We appreciate the super chat. All right, man, dude. I had like all these layers to the show. How are we going to start? I didn't use anything. We just talked for 25 minutes.
Just reset, man. Let's go. I mean, I as long as you have me off by like 9:45, I'm good. So let's just chit chat.
I do kind of want to go back to recruiting, because Tennessee, what a summer, man. What a summer. The momentum, it was every Saturday. Boom, another commitment. And now Tennessee sees themselves sitting at 6th, according to the On3 industry rankings. Man, if you had told me before the summer, what would you take this? Sign me up. The guys that they signed in this class, and the narrative on Josh Heupel when he came here, he can't recruit. And I hated that narrative because he recruited similar numbers to Frost when Frost was at Central Florida. So I of course you're not signing 5 stars. You're at Central Florida. I never thought that was really a fair statement. Now at Tennessee, going into year 4, look what he's done. And I love this tweet that came out. Shout out Rick Butler. Anyway, how impressive is this? These are the top 5 guys since they've been tracking the rankings. You got 2 of the top 5 guys. That's pretty dang impressive for Josh Heupel and what he's done. Just talk about Heupel and his ability to recruit and how quickly he's flipped this roster.
Yeah, no doubt. Shout out Sam though. He brings up Torrin Poole. That's another name. And then someone said it was someone else said, how are we not going to mention all-time great Carlin Fills of me? What a name. What a name. Yeah, like 2 right there's from Heupel, and not even counting some other 5 stars that he's brought in. Arian Carter was a 4-star. David Hobbs and David Ross and who are a couple other 5. Mike Matthews. I mean, he's done a really, really nice job. And you're right. I mean, if you're going to clown him for not being able to recruit, I mean, it was UCF. Why is anybody going to want to go to UCF if they have big-time power offers to the other 3 power schools in that state, in Florida State, and Miami, and Florida? It just makes no sense to me. So he's come in. He's done a really nice job. Again, he builds his class. He zeroes in on the quarterback that he wants early on, makes it an absolute priority, and gets that quarterback. And in a lot of classes, he's zeroed in on the pass rush. He builds his roster and his classes like you build a football team, especially NFL. Now you're seeing it trickling down to college. You get a passer, you get a rusher. Okay, you get a guy that affects the passer and a guy that throws the football, and then you build off those guys. And he's had some big-time wins late in cycles. I remember on signing day a couple years ago, he got Tyree West, James Pierce in the same cycle. That was huge. Arian Carter was a late addition. David Hobbs is a late addition. And I think he's done a good job of, evaluating some talent. Not all of these guys in every single class are going to hit. Some are going to be bust, or some are just going to be special teams players. Some are going to be here for a year or 2, enter the transfer portal and go on. But I think they've done a great job of evaluating talent and then developing that talent and adjusting as well. I think Kelsey Pope has done a fantastic job the last 2 cycles recruiting that wide receiver position. I think Glenn Ellerbe, he's casting a much wider net this cycle. And yeah, sure, you got the big fish, David Sanders, you got the big fish, but Douglas Utu, and you were also in on a ton of other tackles in case something went south with David Sanders. So I think they're doing a great job. And if anybody's still questioning if Josh Heupel can recruit at this level, I'm questioning your intelligence, because absolutely he's shown that the last couple of cycles.
Yeah, just in the thing about the wide receiver room that impresses me the most is the ability, and again, I think this speaks to the culture, the ability to keep that room together. Like I would have laid money down that you would have had at least one guy go to the portal, but to keep those guys there and to hear, I love hearing that not Chaz Nimrod. Nathan Laycock. Why am I having a brain fart? Because it's Monday morning. I should be asleep. Hearing that Nathan Laycock is putting the work in, man, that was a guy that was a highly rated prospect, and then everybody's asking, what's the deal with Nathan Laycock? Why are we not hearing about, look at Mike Matthews. He comes in as a freshman, and everybody's talking about him. He's getting all the buzz in spring, all the buzz throughout the summer, all the buzz through fall camp, through the scrimmages, and it was kind of like, well, where's Nathan Laycock? And then hearing Coach Pope talk about the work that he put in, during the offseason, and he's doing things the right way, and man, that's you can't beat that, right? And then when guys graduate, and maybe Nathan Laycock's not contributing as a freshman or as a sophomore, but when he goes into that junior, senior year, maybe that's when it's his time. So I think for Coach Pope to keep that room together, that speaks volumes about the culture too.
Yeah, Nathan Laycock's a good one to mention because he, like, On 3 had him as a 4-star, like, gosh, if I remember correctly, maybe like top 120, top 130. Like, On 3 was higher on him than the other services were, and then of course he came in and didn't really make any noise at all that first year, and so to hear his name, like you mentioned, this fall camp, like, that's awesome because if you ever seen him in person, he's a big dude. Like, he towers over a lot of these other receivers, right? Just from a bulk standpoint, and he might just be one of those guys that's a late bloomer. I mean, Tennessee's going to lose some weapons over the next couple of years, and if you can keep a guy like that in your system, that's awesome. Mike Matthews just came in and scored a touchdown in every single scrimmage they had in spring, so it's easy to see why he's getting so much love. Two guys I want to highlight, obviously, when we're talking about this culture and keeping the room intact and competition. You know me, I've been high on Dante Thornton since last year. I'm not gonna relinquish that. I think he's got an NFL body if he can put it together. He was starting to put it together. Got hurt, had a great spring. I'm excited to see what he can do. I'm high on Chris Brazzell because all he's done is made plays in fall camp. We know about Brew and Squirrel. Chaz Nimrod and Caleb Webb. Chaz Nimrod might be like one of the key receivers this year. He's not going to start, but he's going to play in the slot. He'll play on the outside. For him not to run to the portal, and for Caleb Webb not to run to the portal, for Caleb Webb to stay and work and be in that competition, and when they have Tennessee football night at the Tennessee baseball game, standing out in right field, just heckling the right fielder from whatever team they were playing that Tuesday. It's awesome to see that in an era where it's so easy to start, and sometimes that is the right choice for people. I'm not knocking that. But in an era to go and start over somewhere fresh, it's so refreshing and so nice to see these guys want to stay, put in the work, and fight for the right to play here. So I think, Caleb Webb, Chaz Nimrod, those guys are just adding to that room that's so deep, and I think it's going to have a huge bounce-back season this year. I think Tennessee's wide receivers are going to be really, really good.
You think we're going to see more than three?
Yeah,
I
do.
We're going to finally see it, I think.
It's crazy to see. Now, you can't really judge it off what we're going to see this Saturday because it's going to be a little bit different. Me and Brent were talking last night, and it's like, well, can anybody, quote-unquote, win a job this Saturday? And we don't think so, but you can also kind of maneuver that jockeying, right? That safety position opposite of Andre Turrentine. Like, say Jacoby Thomas goes out there and balls out. Well, chances are Jacoby Thomas is going to be the first one to get reps against NC State, and then we'll see if you can win that job. They're going to play 6-7 receivers, Saturday. They're going to rotate in Jackson Lampley with Andre Carrick at left guard. But yeah, to answer your question, I absolutely do. And Kelsey Pope spoke on this last week, or maybe it was Joey Halsey, like, it was Brew McCoy. There we go. It was Brew McCoy. We talked to so many people. I'm ready for them to just go play. Brew McCoy's like, man, that 2022 season, like, we're playing like 90 snaps a game. It's taxing. There was a lot. Mm-hmm. So if you can allow them to play 60 snaps a game, I mean, think of how much was it Cedric Tillman that came up, or was it Jacob Warren that Ole Miss 2021? Joe throws to the end zone just a smidge high, nearly won that game. I think it was Tillman. He jumps up and doesn't bring that down. Say he played 20 or 30 less snaps that game.
Gets a little higher.
Maybe it makes a difference, right? So I think Tennessee's going to be deeper this year with that rotation because they can. And so I think Chaz is going to play. I think Thornton's obviously going to play. And right now I think Caleb Webb's going to play. And then hopefully Mike Matthews gets in that rotation as well.
I mean, that's a perfect segue. And everybody knows it because everybody's talked it. We've talked it all offseason is the depth on the defensive line. I think they got depth at linebacker. I'm excited about the secondary. I think so much of the national media, so much of the talking points are all, well, Tennessee's secondary, but it's going to be a problem. I think this defense is going to be really, really good. I think it's going to be extremely good. I think, I don't even remember who I was listening to. I can't remember somebody national that went out on a limb and said it could be the best defense in the SEC. I think they have the potential to be that good. I think the defense, man, as good as this offense is going to be, I'm excited about Nico going out there and showing the world what he can do. But I think this defense is what a lot of people are going to be talking about, and it could be that perfect storm. Again, y'all talking about it last night. Tennessee sneaks in that playoff. People are going to be terrified to see Tennessee across from them on a bracket if we're talking about national playoff or college football playoff. Everything's on the line. You don't want to play Tennessee because they can beat anybody in the country, and I think the defense and that front seven is going to be really freaking good.
Yeah, I mean, the depth chart's going to come out here in a couple hours when we get over to UT, and, me and all my other media people are going to take a picture of that and tweet it out. It means nothing. Kamal Haddon's name was on the depth chart like 3 weeks after his injury last year. I mean, they just
So funny.
There's
So
going to be
funny.
18 or 19 oars. Every single defensive lineman, maybe not named James Pierce, is going to have an oar. And that one's okay because the defensive line, in my opinion, truly is interchangeable. But my point is this. You're going to see how deep and how experienced, just on paper, that defensive line is today when that depth chart comes out. And I think it's going to – it's one of the we've talked about this, Boogie. It's one of the main reasons I got Tennessee winning on the road at Oklahoma right now in preseason because brand new offensive line, young quarterback. Tennessee's defensive line is just going to take over and bully Oklahoma, in my opinion, in the second half of that football game. And as long as Keenan Peely stays upright, one key injury last year really derailed that room. Stunted the growth. Not really stunted the growth. Accelerated the growth is what I'm trying to say because
Sure,
Arian Carter had to play early. Jeremiah Thielander had to play early. Caleb Perry had to play some. Elijah Herring had to go and start. And there were some other injuries in that room as well. But if Keenan Peely can stay up and to stay healthy and don't get in a bind injury-wise because of that, I just think that the front seven is going to help out the secondary so much, allow them to play more tight man coverage. And I think there's some athletic ability back there, man. I mean, Boo's a baller, and I think the corners –
Really,
they need to find some more depth at corner, but I think the corners are going to be good. Ricky Gibson, Jamal McCoy, Jordan Matthews has had a good camp. Jalen McMurray's had a good camp. I like the corners a lot of the secondary. So, yeah, I mean, I think that they've got a lot of potential. I don't know if I would go best in the SEC, but certainly I think that they're going to be good and continue that improvement that Tim Banks' defense have had over the 3 years here at Tennessee.
You said something. Tennessee's going to beat Oklahoma. We played a little game. We did our final season predictions. They change and we move them and we do all this stuff. But we did it different this year. We pulled up the schedule and we went by the ESPN FPI and we went game by game. And you had to pick win or loss. When you sit back and you go, all right, I'm saying 10-2. That's way easier than going through the schedule and pinpointing where those two losses come. And so last night, that night, we're going through it, and I'm like, man, Oklahoma on the road. I feel like everything hinges on this game, but it's early, and I like that. I think that's an advantage for Tennessee, and I think Tennessee wins that game. But then if they win that game, they're not going to let Florida beat them. And then if they beat Florida and they're 6-0 when Alabama comes to town, they're not losing that game. And the next thing I know, I'm saying Tennessee's winning 11 games. So lock it in. Like, what is your final prediction? And is what I'm saying make sense? Does it change if you have to go game by game and you kind of start factoring in momentum? It
absolutely doesn't change. 'Cause you're right, man. You go on the road. I mean, first and foremost, I've always got to qualify this conversation because we never talk NC State. And again, I'm on record thinking Tennessee. I'm the biggest sunshine pumper here this year. Maybe I'm just ready for football time. I don't know, but I mean, I call it like it is. I'm not. I've never been considered a homer. But I just call it like it is. But, I mean, I think Tennessee's going to win that NC State game by 2 scores. I do. But NC State's going to be a good challenge. You talk about playing them early. You talk about Oklahoma. I think it's a great thing that Tennessee's playing NC State early because I think that offense is going to be humming here towards the end of the year. But NC State, handle business, okay? Go on the road, Oklahoma. It's such a national storyline, Heupel, Jackson Arnold, Bob Stoops, all that type of stuff. That is going to be a massive game. I mean, they're saying that's the biggest football game in a decade for Oklahoma, the first SEC game and everything with Josh Heupel. That's not going to be easy, but if you win that game, well, you look at that game in Alabama, and Andy Staples brought this up last night, and I've mentioned it several times over the offseason. Alabama and Oklahoma, split those games. Okay, if you split those games, keep in mind you take care of business September 7th against NC State. You split the Oklahoma-Alabama game, you can lose to Georgia, and you're going to be fine. You'll be in the college football playoff. Now, you need to handle business against those teams you got to handle business against. Florida, Kentucky, Mississippi State, all those teams, Arkansas. But you split those two games, Oklahoma, Alabama. I mean, it doesn't matter how much, if you lose to Georgia, how much you lose by. I mean, you're a college football playoff team. So I'm just, I'm really, really pumped up to get the season underway. I think the two big-time football games in the month of September. I think that game in Oklahoma is the tone setter for the season. But, yeah, you win that game against Oklahoma. You're obviously trap-ish game against Arkansas in 2 weeks after that. Go handle business there. You're coming back. You're going to beat the crap out of Florida, and then you're sitting there 6-0, Alabama. Why not, right? I mean, you beat Alabama, you're 7-0, and then potentially you can talk yourself into Tennessee being undefeated going to Athens. And you're like, well, why not, right? So yeah, it's a little bit more difficult when you go game by game for sure.
And it's like, if I had to, okay, what's your prediction? I would say 10-2. Because I like that. I like that you could split Oklahoma and Alabama. I just can't. I know how I am, and like you, You don't think I'm gonna pump sunshine if Tennessee is 6-0 and Alabama's coming? There is no way on God's green earth I'm picking Alabama to win that game. This just not happening. And everything is so eerily similar to 2022. Right, week by week gets bigger and bigger and more stakes on the line, and it's like win. We just stack them. And then Georgia. Let's freaking go beat Georgia. Let me catch up with some super chats, then we'll let Cainer get out of here. Dylan Elam dropped a 5 spot. Said, question for Cainer. We know Ethan Davis is probably the most underrated receiver. Stace is the big red zone tight end. What does Miles Kitselman bring? Let me piggyback on that. We're going to be talking about Miles Kitselman a lot more than people thought, aren't we?
Yeah. Guy that came in with no fanfare. I didn't think he was going to amount to much at all. There was a former staffer that was on Tennessee's support staff the last couple of years. He's now at he's now coaching receivers at a group of 5 school. Anyway, he's gone, but he was here this offseason, and whenever Kitselman went into the transfer portal, he stood on a table and said, we got to take this guy. I coached him at Hutch. Got to take this guy. He's got a lot of good tape. He can play in this league. He's been at Alabama the last couple of years. We got to take this guy. They took him. Fans didn't care. Nobody really cared. Came in. Him and Dante Thornton were the stories of spring practice, and he's going to play. He knows the physicality of this league. He's great with the inline stuff. He's proved to Tennessee staff that he can play in space. I think all 3 of those guys are going to be used in several different ways. Ethan Davis certainly is going to be a red zone target. I think both Stays and Kitselman will be red zone targets. I think that you're going to see them on the field at the same, maybe not all 3 of them, but a couple of 2 tight end sets. And there's one formation Tennessee likes to play double tight, like an ace and shotgun, 2 tights, and then put that 3rd tight end at running back next to the quarterback. They did that at Kentucky a couple years ago. I think you're going to see a lot of that type of stuff in the red zone, which is great because Tennessee's not been able to do that the last couple of years. So I'm pumped about the tight ends for sure.
Rocket Top Tom for 2 says breakdown UT and Florida meeting week 6, both at 5-0. We kind of just did that. We kind of just answered the question. Tennessee's not losing that game. If Tennessee's undefeated, they are not losing to Florida. I promise you, Josh Heupel and this football team don't care about Florida.
Will Florida be undefeated, though? I think that was part of the question. Well, meaning Florida's going to beat Miami?
Yeah, that ain't happening. I don't think. Their schedule is brutal, man.
Well, they're going to be desperate for wins because they open against Miami. We know the ending to their season, and then they got Tennessee there, which is obviously going to be a tough game. I'm friends with a Florida guy. One of my good friends is a Florida fan, and he's like, I'm convinced Florida's going to be undefeated when they play Tennessee. Going to be undefeated when they play. They will not be. They will end the season 7-5 or whatever, but they'll be undefeated when they play Tennessee. And I'm like, whew, that would just magnify that game even more than what it already is.
I don't want Billy Napier to get fired. I want him to be just bad enough that he keeps his job. Negative All for 5 says, what games do we lay a 50 burger? Let's see here. Give me Chattanooga. Give me Kent State. Just give me the cupcakes. Give me UTEP. Probably Vanderbilt. I think a lot of people, when they want to talk about points per game, the clock rules have changed that, man. It's going to be hard to score as the way this team scored in 2022. I think the offense will be better. I don't know that you necessarily score more points per game.
They'll get a 50 burger one of those SEC games, whether it's like Kentucky or just because, the one of those games will be a blowout. I'm not saying whether it's Kentucky or Arkansas or you mentioned Vanderbilt, of course. Yeah, they'll get to a 50 at some point in the SEC. It's just I don't really know which team it'll be right now.
Bad quality for 2. Y'all think Thornton will do enough to be drafted? I don't know that he'll get drafted. I think he definitely could end up on a roster.
Yeah. I mean, the plan, it's on paper, it's always a good plan. Plan was to come in last year, ball out, go to the draft. Obviously, that did not, pan out. But there's a reason why Joey Halsey's been so high on him, dating back to fall camp last year. He's got the body, he's got the frame, he's got the speed. So we'll see. I mean, he's got to go prove it on the field for sure. I mean, until he proves it consistently on the field, the answer is no.
All right, Cainer gave us some overtime this morning. I've still got some more stuff we're going to get into. We're going to continue the Monday morning show. You guys know the deal. You already do it. You're already subscribed, I'm sure. Go over and check out what Cainer's doing over at Locked On Vols, also over at volquest.com. Man, you gotta cover that national championship when baseball rolls around. Cainer is your guy. What else you got going on at Locked On Vols? What dropped this morning? What's dropping tomorrow? What do you got coming up?
Yeah, this morning we talked about the commitment from Onis Kanambani. We talked about Tony Vitello's extension. We dove into UTC, talking actual game prep. So that's on the that's on the show this morning. Of course, we'll answer some questions on tomorrow's show. Just continue to get you ready for the season, man. Tons of recruiting coverage, tons of baseball coverage, tons of football coverage, all that and more. VolQuest.com got a really good deal going on right now through the end of Tuesday. 50% off annual subscriptions with the promo code Kickoff24 over at VolQuest.com right now, today, and tomorrow. So getting ready for the start of the season, man. It's we made it, and couldn't be more thrilled. And congratulations to everybody, and we'll see you next Monday. And of course, Boogie, you're going to be on my show on Friday morning, segments 1 and 2 as well. So
rubbing salt in the wound. I just got my auto renewal bill for VolQuest.com. It wasn't 50% off, but it's the best money you could spend for Vol football coverage. Love what you guys do over there. All right, buddy, it's always a good time. We'll catch up Thursday, right? Hit me up Thursday.
Sounds good, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, later. All right, we're going to continue rolling. We got almost 400 people watching live. You know what that tells me? That tells me you guys are fired up and excited, man. The first Monday morning show of 2024. We're getting ready to play Chattanooga in a glorified scrimmage, and we got almost 400 people tuned in, dialed in, talking Tennessee football. I love it. If you've not done it yet, smash the thumbs up just below the video. It's quick, it's free, it's easy, it helps the channel, and I would appreciate it if you guys did that. You can hit share, put this thing out on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram. Let Uncle Tom, your Uncle Tom over at MySpace, know that we're live. We would appreciate any and all support. If you want to rep the brand, man, you guys can go check out the Talkin Vols merchandise. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin Vols. We got these brand new Vol World Order shirts, because if you're talking Vols, you're talking Vols for life. All these links are in the description below as well. But you can rep Talkin Vols merchandise, Cruitin' with Boogie and the coaches. We got a shirt for people that hang out and don't talk. It's called the Lurker shirt. Repping the Talkin Vols network. That's there. We got a Knoxville, Tennessee shirt. All kinds of fun merchandise. Again, bonfire.com/store/Talkin Vols. And if you're wearing one out in the wild, if you wear one to Neyland Stadium, man, tweet it out. I want to see it. Tag me on Twitter at Boogie Bentley. This is I love this shirt. This shirt I wear this shirt all the time. And sadly, Nelson wears it all the time. So I see this beautiful design and I think of Nelson's ugly mug, because Nelson wears it all the time. But shout out Nelson for always repping the Talkin Vols network. We appreciate you. All right, it's just us now. It's just us. Cainer's gone, so we're going to feed off each other. We'll see what you guys are talking about. Bad quality for two says, think about it. Over under 10 people drafted this year. The interesting part about this question or this statement is how many guys came back on that offensive line, right? Guys that I think could have been drafted last year. John Campbell, Spraggins, Cooper Mays. I think all three of those guys can get drafted. And then you look at Dante Thornton. Does he end up on a roster? I think Brew McCoy gets drafted. So let me count them. John Campbell, Spraggins, Cooper Mays, Brew McCoy. That right there is four guys that are going to be drafted. What does Dylan Sampson do? Does Dylan Sampson have 1,200 yards on the ground? Does he have a huge season and elect to go pro? Because if he does, I think he ends up on a roster. So I'll say 5. I'll say Dylan Sampson leaves and goes pro. James Pierce is going to get drafted. Does Keenan Peely? We'll have to see. What about some of these guys like Omari Thomas, Bryson Eason? Man, it'll be interesting. That's a good number. 10 people. What do you guys think in the chat? 10 guys drafted. Ashley's been a member of the channel for 13 months. We appreciate you, Ashley. Thank you for the support. Jared King also becomes a member of the channel. Thank you, Jared. We appreciate that. You guys can hit that join button. Meme says Brew has another year if he wants to come back. I don't see Brew coming back, man. He's already, how old is Brew McCoy? I just don't see him coming back. Tip Jackson says, I really appreciate you knowing how to pronounce Chattanooga. How do people pronounce Chattanooga? All right, what I wanted to do, because I am so high on this defense, man. Like I just told Cainer, this offense is going to eat. This offense is going to score points. This offense is going to be exciting. This offense is going to be what it's supposed to be under Josh Heupel. I think we all know that. I think most of the national media, I think they know that. I think they know Nico's going to be good. I think they question the defense. I think they especially questioned the secondary, and maybe rightfully so, right? The safeties. Who's going to win over that star position? Is Boo Carter ready to go at star as a true freshman? I don't know, but I'm excited about this defense. Tim Banks met with the media recently. I've not listened to this. And I'm curious to see what Tim Banks says. You guys know the deal. What we typically do on a Monday morning show, Cainer comes on, we go 30, 40 minutes, and then I usually listen to Josh Heupel's post-game press conference, and we kind of break it down. If you guys have something you guys want to talk about, you guys know how to break it up. I'll pause it. I'll get your question, and we'll just have a fun conversation. These Monday morning shows, always laid back. But I want to hear what Tim Banks had to say about this defense when he met with the media after practice.
Coach, you said at the beginning of fall camp that you expected Boo Carter to kind of get some more maturity as he kind of went along. Has that maturity process been kind of expedited last few weeks, and how much more confident do you guys feel with him?
Yeah, I'm excited about Boo, just like a lot of our freshmen. Obviously with the situation we're in, he's his learning curve had to speed up a little bit. So he's coming along. I think at the end of the day, just like most freshmen, there's still some things that, he can continue to improve on. But, he's been working his tail off. And he's doing everything he can to get ready. So we're excited about him. We think he's going to have a really good year for us.
I'm interested to see who actually starts against Chattanooga. And not that it matters. And when the depth chart comes out today, I would almost bet $500 that the depth chart has Christian Harrison or Boo Carter. I would imagine that's the way it'll read. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Christian Harrison gets the start at star on Saturday, just because he's a redshirt sophomore and he's a guy that was competing for the job, right? And you get the injury to Thomas, and we're all talking about Boo Carter. Everybody's saying, man, I think Boo can start as a freshman. And my narrative was kind of, I don't know that he starts right out of the gate. I think he has the opportunity to eventually win the job, but because of the injury, here we are. And now we're talking about, instead of Thomas, we're talking about, is it Christian Harrison or is it Boo Carter? We're going to see them both play a lot on Saturday, but I think that Christian Harrison probably gets the start. I don't know that Will Brooks is going to play star. I think Will Brooks seems to be more in the conversation at safety. And that was another question I had too when Jacoby Thomas transferred here from MTSU. I said, is he ready? Is Jacoby Thomas ready? Did I just say Jordan Thomas? Is Jacoby Thomas ready to make that jump from MTSU to playing safety in the SEC? And I don't know that he is. So when you hear Will Brooks, it seems that more people are talking Will Brooks at safety instead of that star position. Evan, for two, do we see a better use of timeouts this year? I don't know. You would hope so. You would hope so. How many times did Tennessee come out of a timeout, a TV timeout, change of possession, and Joe Milton wasn't ready? How many times did that happen? How many timeouts were used because of Joe Milton didn't understand what was going on? Was that coaching? Is that Josh Heupel? Does Josh Heupel have to learn and grow and get better? I think Josh Heupel pays attention to small details. Incorporating the iPads on the sideline, incorporating the earpiece in the helmets. They're practicing all of that. They did a mock halftime for adjustments. I think Josh Heupel focuses on little details. So we'll see. Let's hear more from Tim Banks.
Yeah, I think it's a fluid situation for everybody. Jacoby's had a really good camp, from spring and even this fall. I like where he is, to be honest with you. He's a good tackler for us. He has a physical presence in that back end, the size that we covet. So I'm excited about, where he is and his development. And, I got to see the games, just like I got to see all these guys playing games. Practice is one thing, obviously playing in the games is another thing. But, if he stays true to what he's done, I think he'll have a big year as well.
Coach, a year ago, the linebacker room just kept getting more and more depleted as the season went on. It feels like this is the deepest unit you've had since you've been here. Talk about that, and then what is it that clicks for Coach Inge that has allowed him to kind of walk in there and kind of be a seamless transition for that?
Yeah, I think the first part is what you said. Exactly what you said is right. We have more depth than we've had since I've been here. I'm really excited about that group. I think we've done a really good job recruiting in that room. I think the sky's the limit for those guys. We're going to play a lot more guys there than we have in the past, and it's just because they've earned it. As far as Coach Inge, he's exactly what you think he would be. He's a veteran coach. He's been a coordinator. He has a great personality that those guys kind of can to relate to. He keeps it fun. He keeps it light, but at the same time, he's probably one of the better teachers I've been around. So, I'm excited about Coach Inge. I've said ever since I've been here, we got a great staff, and, he's been a great addition to that.
I think Tennessee upgraded at linebacker coach. I think Inge is a better coach than Brian Jean-Marie. I think the way he came in, man, listening to him talk, he's so analytical. And he comes up, man. The kids love him. The kids love him, and the relationships you hear all that. He comes across to me intimidating, man. He seems like the smartest guy in the room, and when he talks, man, he just seems like a guy that would demand respect. And maybe I think that he is going to be the next defensive coordinator at Tennessee. And I said that when he was hired. I think that Tim Banks is ultimately going to end up as a head coach. I think it's coming sooner rather than later. I know a lot of people probably going to cheer that, and a lot of people question Tim Banks. That makes zero sense to me. When you look at the roster, when you look at what Tim Banks took over and the way they've rebuilt this thing, and now the way the defensive line looks, and now the linebacker room, AP just said it there. You heard Tim Banks kind of double down, and it's deep. The linebacker room is as deep as it's been since they've got – how many times have we – been doing a film breakdown and hear Coach Jay just rave about these kids. And of course, we're talking about Keenan Peely, and we're talking about Arian Carter, and we're talking about Jeremiah Thielander and Edwin Spillman. But what about the guys like Jordan Burns, who Coach Jay's real high on? Like, and that's not the guy that everybody's talking about. This linebacker room is getting deeper. And now if you've got – and look, they talked about the injuries last year. And that's the thing when we sit here and we talk about our expectations and we talk about what's 2024 going to look like. And it's easy to sit here and go, 11 wins, man, 10 wins, 11 wins. We're going to go out there and we're going to dominate. But somebody's going to get injured. It happens. But when you load that room with talent, that's why recruiting is so freaking important. And now we're seeing that. We've seen what Josh Heupel can do. 2022, we saw it. We saw it. That's what this football team's supposed to look like. Last year, cruise control. We're back. We're back. And I think we're going to be fine at quarterback. Jake Merklinger, George McIntyre, Faison Brandon. I think we're going to be okay at quarterback. I don't think we're going to have any more Joe Miltons. I think Josh Heupel is always going to have an elite quarterback. We saw what this team is supposed to be. Now what happens when you add an elite defense? That's why I love that quote, man. I love that quote from Heupel because everybody talks about his offense and how they want to go up tempo. They're going to score a lot of points. Nobody's going to want to play defense for this guy. Nobody's going to want to be on the field as much as that defense is. And I love this quote from Josh Heupel. I love it.
I've said it from when I got here. The expectation, the standard is to play elite defense here, not just good defense. This is the home of Eric Berry, Al Wilson, Reggie White. The standard is to be elite.
I love that. I love it. So here's some more from Tim Banks. I think this was after practice on Friday. We're back. We're 5 days away from kickoff, boys. It's freaking go time. Full steam ahead. Talking Balls live on Wednesday night. Me and Coach Jay decided last night the Friday morning shows. Monday mornings, 9 a.m. Friday mornings, we're going to keep the same time we did last year. So Friday mornings, 10 a.m., me and Coach Jay right here on the Talkin Balls Network. So make sure you guys tune in for that as well. What's up, Robert? Good to see you in the chat, brother.
Where do you think this group, this unit has grown the most since the start of fall camp? What do you like the most? And what's left on your punch list that you need to get answers to in week one moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think the reality of it is you're never satisfied. I think it's still a lot of things that we can continue to improve on. But I think the one thing that I am excited about is what I mentioned, when I came the first time we had this press conference, is just our depth, overall depth. I know we talked a lot about our front, and all the moving parts that we have there. But as I said earlier, I feel really good about the linebacker position. I think we got a lot of guys that we can plug and play, and then with the secondary, we're young, but I think we're talented. And we talked about Abu Carter, we talked about Jacoby Thomas, but there's a lot more guys that are going to come into play this season as well. So I think just the overall depth that we have, that we can get a lot of guys in and, give guys opportunities to showcase their skill set.
Andre Turrentine told us that his being patiently waiting for his moment was beneficial for him. How have you seen his patience be beneficial for him?
Yeah, I don't know how patient any of these guys are. I think, if you had it up to Dre, he would have been starting the first year. But he's worked hard. He's never wavered. He's always been a strong personality back there, a quarterback of the defense. And whether he was third string, second string, or first string, he's always had the great intent to practice hard and be prepared when his opportunity came. So, I'm happy for him. He's worked really hard and, he'll have a chance to showcase his skill set this season.
Coach, we obviously also what James Pierce did last year. What is happening developmental wise with opposite him with either Joshua or Caleb or some of those younger guys?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with Josh Joseph, obviously. He's played a ton of football around here. We're really excited about what he brings to the table. God, I don't want to leave anybody out, but I think that whole room, all those Leos really got a chance to be special for us. We've always tried to rotate those guys a ton. Even last year, James rotated a ton, and that's when he had a chance to showcase his skill set, and he got better every single game, every single week. We expect the same type of productivity from the backup guys that are rotating in this season as well. But definitely Josh Joseph's had a really good camp for us to this point.
Just how different is Caleb with the weight gain?
Man, that's a great question, man. Sometimes I don't even recognize him. He's always been a long kid, obviously, but now you see the pounds on him. He's just playing with a lot more speed to power. I expect him to really have a really good year as well. He's one of the guys we're talking about. But I think the size, the weight gain that he has is in a positive way. He didn't rush it. It's all muscle. So he's still moving around the way he moved around as a smaller guy, but he's just doing it with more bulk. So we're excited for him.
We've talked this to death. We've talked it and we've talked it and we've talked it. This defensive line, and you just roll down the edge group, man. You just go by the edge position. James Pierce, possible number 1 overall draft pick. Joshua Joseph, buying in, putting in the work. He's confident, man. Joshua Joseph has a confidence to him. He has seen what James Pierce has become, and now he wants to be that. And James Pierce is off to the NFL. And both guys are juniors. Both guys came in together. And Joshua Josephs was the guy that we were all talking about. When they were recruited and they were signed, we were all talking about Joshua Josephs. And then James Pierce comes in and goes to work. And he's the guy everybody's talking about, possible number 1 draft pick. Joshua Joseph sees that and says, hold my beer. It's time for me to go to work. It's time for me to take this serious. So let's send James Pierce to the NFL, and then let's let Joshua Joseph slide in 2025 and come dominate. But then you go behind Joshua Joseph and you got Caleb Herring, and you hear him talking about how he's put on the weight. The guy's elite. And then, oh yeah, by the way, we got a stud freshman in Jordan Ross. We got a 5-star edge rusher in Jordan Ross that you got to rattle off 3 names before you can even get to him, because that's how deep Tennessee is at the edge position. Good luck. Coach Jay just said in the chat, good luck opposing offensive lines. Good luck having any gas left in the tank. Good luck. Any of you guys do MMA or jiu-jitsu? Like, one of the biggest training drills is the shark tank. And that's where you're the guy that's in on the mat, and your coach rotates a fresh guy on you over and over and over. So you're training for 30 minutes, and it's a fresh guy. It's a fresh guy. I just punched my microphone because I'm so fired up. It's a fresh guy over and over and over. And by the end, you're dead. You got no chance, man. They can throw in a 130-pound 12-year-old, and they're going to whip you because you're exhausted, because you've been going rep after rep after rep after rep. Meanwhile, these guys are sitting over there, leaning up against the wall, telling jokes, laughing, waiting on their turn to come in and put a beating on you. Good luck being fresh in the 4th quarter against this football team. Good luck. Good luck. And now it's not just on the defensive line. Now it's in that linebacker room too. Good luck. That's why you see the clip from Joshua Josephs, and he's just laughing. He's just laughing. Watch.
No team can really stop us. Like, you can't handle what we have. Like, even like the amount of rotations, we're gonna be so fresh off the field. We got Big O, Big E, Jackson Moy. We got Bryson Easton, Omar Norman Lott. We got Dave and Hodge. And then that's just the interior right there. Them 6 guys on the interior that's going to be rotating. And then on our edges. Like, y'all see it, man. You see who we got, man. We got James Pierce. Off rip, come on, dude. Can't even plan for him. We got James. We got Caleb Herring. Bro, come on. Yo, Caleb is the dog. We got Jason Jenkins. Telling you, he's a sleeper. Jason Jenkins is a sleeper. Don Bailey for sure. Tyree, we got dogs everywhere. So it's like you can't really plan for us, honestly.
He's laughing. We are laughing, in the words of Will Ferrell. We are laughing. He's confident, man. He knows. He knows what this team's got on defense. Evan Counts for 5 says, so excited to finally watch our defense stop those 6- and 7-yard slant routes over the middle for first downs. Are these corners going to be physical? Are they going to get in your face? Are they going to be in your grill? I hope so. I think Jermod McCoy has no problem getting in somebody's grill. I don't think he has any problem playing press coverage. Just be interesting to see if this coaching staff allows these corners to be physical. Peyton K drops a 20 spot. That's Orange Boy. We appreciate that, Peyton. Very generous super chat. We'll play the clip.
Rocky Top, you'll always be.
Peyton for 20 says, great show last night. Missed the live show, but watch the replay. Keep doing what you're doing, Boogie. Appreciate that, Peyton. What a fun show, man. What a fun show. David's just such, I keep saying it, and I know it's repetitive. David's just such a good kid, man. Such a good kid. Me and Coach Jay had a blast last night. We love all the interviews, man. It's always fun to get these kids on here, get to know who they are away from the game of football. And that's something that his dad told me. He's like, man, I'm excited for Vol Nation to get to see David out from under the helmet, right? And that's what me and Cain were kind of talking about at the start of the show. Too many times we as fans, we as, media or whatever you want to call what we do. I don't like to call myself media because I'm a fan, but Kainer's media, so I got to call him media. But Kainer's also a fan. But we talk about these guys, and we talk about 5 stars. And, Kainer said we talk about their height and their weight and this, that, and the other. That's David. That's a son. That's a brother. Big brother. 3 little sisters, man, that look up to him. More than just a ball player. Great kid. Had a blast. If you guys missed it, go back and watch it. Just absolute blast talking to David last night. Had a great time. Told him 30 minutes. I think he was on here, like 45 minutes? Just so much fun. Coach Rice is in the house. What's up, brother? $5 super chat. What's up? Boogie interview went great. Definitely going to watch the rest of the stream on replay. Can't wait to watch both sides of the ball dominate. We're going to be better than the 22 offense, and we're going to have an elite defense. College football playoff or bust. How disappointed, man. How disappointed would you guys be with 9-3? And it's okay to say that. I would be disappointed with 9-3. It's all right to say that. Does that mean if Tennessee goes 9-3, I'm going to be on here screaming to fire Josh Heupel? No, but I'm going to be disappointed because I think this football team has more talent than they did a year ago. They've got more talent. Got to take advantage of it. Vol fan for life's in the house for 2. Appreciate it. Man, if these corners play press for 2 seconds, it's over. It's over. Yeah, we got a cheat code on the defensive line. We got a cheat code on the defensive line that's going to make our secondary look even better. It's going to make our linebackers look even better. I feel like we've been saying it for a while. What happens when Josh Heupel gets elite talent? This might be the year that we find out. Let's hear more from Tim Banks.
You go against that offense every day. What about this year group looks different to you compared to maybe last year's group? And just what do you see out of Nico from a cerebral standpoint?
Yeah, I think the offense, year in and year out, obviously has been really good at what they do. And this year is no different. I think our offensive line is very talented. They're strong. I love the tackles, and their interior guys. But I think when you start talking about Nico, he just has such a strong command from my perspective of the offense. He can throw it, with the best of them. But if I'm being honest, just his sheer size. Sometimes I forget how big he is till I get up on him. When he tucks that ball and he starts to run, that's a problem for anybody, particularly us in defense trying to, corral that guy. So, I think our offense will pick up where they left off the last couple of years, and they'll do exactly what they've been doing.
Tim, when you talked in the spring, you said that you guys could have potentially the best defensive line in the country. Do you still feel that way? And what have you seen from that group?
Yeah, I think, again, it's just the sheer depth again. Hopefully if those guys continue to do what they've been doing, we'll continue to roll them, and there's no drop-off. So they're exactly where I thought they would be. I love our depth. I think our interior guys are very athletic, but they still have good size to be able to push the pocket. So I think as long as we can keep everybody healthy and continue to roll those guys in, I stand on it. Yeah,
That'd been awesome if he would have been like, no, I'm not so sure. We got to go out and prove it on the field. They got to. I just picture Tim Banks when he said that. I picture him in front of the meeting. He's like, we got the best defensive line group in the country. And then he walks off the podium and Coach Garner's just standing there with his arms crossed staring at him. Like, I just picture, and I don't know if you guys saw this. When that clip came out, when Tim Banks said that, Rodney Garner actually met with the media, I think the next week. And I think it was AP that asked him, did you hear that Tim Banks said that you have the best defensive line in the country? Uncle Rodney was not happy. He's like, he said that? Like you could tell he's like, how dare he? because that ain't Coach G's style. That ain't Coach G's style, but I love it. And again, I talk about the confidence that Joshua Josephs has. I think Tim Banks knows. He knows. You don't get up there in front of the media and say, we got the best defensive line in the country. You don't do that. You don't do that as a defensive coordinator. But I'd say old Uncle Rodney was pretty pissed. But that's just the confidence, man. Tim Banks has confidence in that unit.
We'll be really good up front. Tim, you've talked about growing in red zone defense and third and long defense. What gives you confidence that this squad's going to be better in both those categories, which I know were two goals?
No, I think just like anything, every year is a new year, but obviously we looked at schematically, personnel, the things we were asking the guys to do. We've obviously made some adjustments, but we think at the end of the day, if the guys be able to play within the system, within the frame of the defense, will be better, particularly in the red zone. And I think third down, for us, you go back and you self-scouted, there were some things that I think we could have done better. There's some plays to be made. But we've definitely, worked really hard this spring and this fall to make sure we're shoring it up and making sure the guys are in the right spots to do what they need to be doing.
Coach, back here in the back. Sorry.
There you go.
What have you seen from Christian Harrison that shows he's ready to take over some minutes in that star position?
Yeah, Christian has been very consistent, this fall camp. I thought he made some strides in the spring, but I thought he really picked it up in the fall. So, he's another guy. We talked about Andre, and, he's probably another guy that has really worked his tail off to put himself in a position to be able to have a bigger role on this team. And I think if he continues to do what he's doing, I think he'll be fine. But I just think the overall consistency in which he's playing, we know exactly what we're going to get out of him. And, I'm sure that'll show up in the games as well. It's okay.
I knew it was muted. Building off of that, how are you all looking in your pass coverage defense?
Yeah, I think we're really good. I think I tell guys all the time, it starts with the front, it starts with the back end. Those guys work hand in hand. So I think as long as we're able to do our job on the back end and they're able to do their job on the front, I think we got a chance to be really good back there.
Kind of on that note, not to get too far in the X's and O's, but because of the depth and the experience and the expected good play of your front four, can you mix things up in the back end coverage-wise, play a little bit more tighter in situations?
Yeah, I think so. It's always interesting. When you self-scout, again, you look at, is it the player, is it the scheme,
Did you see the grin on his face? That was a tell. Did you see the grin on his face? He's like, yeah, this front gives me the opportunity to do some different stuff in the back end that's going to make my secondary bet. The grin on his face. And then he was like, he changed it real quick. See, Coach J saw that tell too. Coach J saw that tell too. That told me that Tim Banks knows something that we don't know. Tim Banks got a little ace up his sleeve. Tim Banks got a little joker card. I wish I could rewind it and not screw everything up. Let's see if we can do this. All right, let's watch this face.
Play a little bit more tighter in situations?
Yeah, I think so. It's always interesting.
Look at that smile. Look at that smile. And then he changes it real quick. Real quick.
When you self-scout, again, you look at, is it the player, is it the scheme, and I think the truth always lies somewhere in the middle. It's our job to put them in the best possible situations to execute their job, and obviously it's their job to execute. So I think we'll be able to do a lot of different things back there, but, again, it'll be based on, who we're playing, what their expectations are in terms of scheme, we'll try to take advantage of it.
Oh, my gosh, that's hilarious. Evan Counts for 5 says these Georgia fans down here in Augusta still honestly believe we are playing with Pruitt's Tennessee. It's laughable to hear them talk about Tennessee, but it's one of those things. Until we beat Georgia, they're always going to act like that. That's why I hate Georgia. Georgia acted like that before they did anything. Georgia fans acted like that before they won the national championships. That's why I say this.
I don't believe there are good people that pull for Georgia. I think they're all terrible, ugly, disgusting human beings. I think it's just that no, there are no good Georgia fans, Eric. There are none.
They're idiots. They're all idiots.
With the success Byron Young had in his rookie year, is that something you've shown the Leo room, just kind of how it translates?
Yeah, we're really proud of BY. He's obviously a great ambassador of our program, particularly on defense. And, what he's doing in the NFL has been awesome. So, yeah, I think those guys take a lot of pride when they see it, not just the Leos, but, our ends, our front, everybody on our defense, because obviously he's a tremendous player, but he's even a better man. So, yeah, we're super proud of him. We really are. And, I think our Leos obviously have taken notice. We like to think, we're preparing those guys for the NFL, particularly what we ask them to do. And, they see him doing, and I'm sure they think they can do it as well. And they probably will.
I never thought of that, Matt. Matt says that clip is why Cainer doesn't go live anymore. That was Cainer's first ever live stream on Locked On Vols, and his last. So maybe you're on to something there, Matt.
Coach, you talked a lot about depth at cornerback. Who were some of the guys that are standing out behind Jermod and Ricky, and what have you seen from Jalen and Jordan going into the season?
Yeah, I think Jalen and Jordan both have been, outstanding in camp. We're always trying to get better, obviously, but, we think those guys have given us the enough validation in what they're doing in practice that they'll be able to help us on the back end. So, but, again, man, for us, we want to stay healthy. When we've been healthy on the back end, we've been really good there. And we think because we can play more guys, it'll allow those guys to stay healthier coming down the back stretch.
All right, that was good stuff, man. I love me some Tim Banks. I'm excited about this defense in 2024. Man, it's game week. It's game week. We got the first of 5 days away. 5 days away. We're full steam ahead, man. We're full steam ahead. Tennessee and Chattanooga coming up on Saturday. Don't forget, man, we're back. We're back. So every Monday morning, 9 a.m., Cainer will come on. I'll watch the Heupel press conference. We'll hang out with you guys. We'll get your comments, what you guys want to get into. Tuesday nights are staying the same. EA Sports College Football. With me being sick last week, it got pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. We got it in on Saturday. It's going to be back on Tuesday. So tomorrow night at 6:30. Wednesday at 7, Talkin VAWLS Live. It's going to be me. It's going to be Dauber. It's going to be Coach Rice. And I got to check with the X Factor and see if he's going to ride with us on Wednesday nights. But that's going to be your crew for Wednesday night. Thursday, I'll make videos. I got to make more videos throughout the week anyway. I got to come up with a video for today. Get back to making some videos instead of just live streams. But Friday mornings, me and Coach Jay at 10 a.m. Saturday, every Saturday. We kind of went just big games and not, and we're doing a tailgate show every Saturday before every game, an hour before kickoff. It's just like Sundays. It's a fan call-in show. We'll send the link out to you guys. You guys come on, hang out. We'll take you all the way up to kickoff, and then we'll come back post-game show immediately following the game. Sunday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern time, fan call-in show, full steam ahead. But we got Chattanooga coming up on Saturday, glorified scrimmage. Tennessee favored by 38.5. The question I'm going to be asking everybody all week, and I'll ask you guys right now, what do you want to see? What do you want to see from Tennessee on Saturday? I know the big answer of, well, we just got to stay healthy. We got to stay healthy. I don't want to come out of the game talking about how we had to be very vanilla. I mean, we only scored 17 points against Chattanooga because we were vanilla. How many times in the Jeremy Pruitt era did we say, oh, we were holding back. I don't want to make excuses. I want to beat the absolute brakes off of Chattanooga. I want to see big-time plays down the field. I want to see explosive plays. I miss the explosive plays that we had in 2022. That's what I want to see. I don't want to come on here for a post-game show and have to make excuses of why we didn't have explosive plays because it was a vanilla offense. I don't care. We should be able to line up any wide receiver that we have against a Chattanooga DB and just run him straight down the field and let Nico throw it up, go catch it. Like EA Sports College Football on a Tuesday night. Like freaking Coach Rice on a Saturday night, freaking going for 2, going for it on 4th and 72, up 55-0. That's what I want to see on Saturday. We're going to be talking about it all throughout the week, but that's going to do it for this one. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.